Okay, so now we're just going to finish off this side here by cleaning up the sirloin and the loin there. So as you can see, this deer had a fair bit of fat on him. He dressed out at 123 pounds. Little 4-point whitetail, but body-wise pretty decent size. Anyways, unless you really like deer fat, which I don't really care for, way too telly, we don't need all that in there. That's stuff we don't need to freeze either. A little bit's not so bad, but you get that much, it's pretty bad. So again, this one here, I just like to trim everything off so it's a neat, tidy package. And this one here, I would just take and roll that one up into a little sirloin roast. And now we're on to our strip loin, or back strap if you will. And to clean this one up, it's the same thing as everything else. You just follow in seams. A lot of it you don't need a knife just yet. If you reach a tough spot, now you can see how much blood we got on that side, but once we remove all this stuff, it comes through clean relatively quickly. There'll be very little to trim off of this side here. It's almost all ready to go now. So I'm going to put that aside for now. There's a little bit of meat in there. And we'll just trim this out nice and neat. Actually, that can go right in there. Okay, so this would be all ready now. Again, I usually nowadays I mostly do everything into roasts and that. So I would just look at the size of roast I want. And if I want them in this size of roast for just two of us there, I would just cut them into roast like this. If I want to do them into steaks, I can either do them that size or I can cut them into butterfly, and then you have a bigger steak. And then as you get further on down, you've got your medallions. And again, there's our roasts. And I like to finish that off with another roast. And then here is just once I get down small, I definitely like to butterfly them. Just gives you something a little larger. And then that's a little leftover. That one's still tender and everything, so if you don't want to put it in the burger pile, it's not really much of a steak there. What you can do is very quickly you can just take and cut it into little strips like so. And package them up as a stir fry, because your stir fry you don't want tough meat anyhow, and that'll be nice and tender, and that'll go in with your little stir fry veggies and everything else. So there we have it. We've got our loin bucked up. We've done our sirloin here. We've got our sirloin tip roast and our sirloin tip steaks, our flat iron, our tenderloins, and our eye around here. And the rest of this is meat to be ground. And we're going to grind that up. And out of that, I've still got a little bit to trim out of here. But pretty much most of that is going to be garbage in here. But so out of that, that's our waste out of one side. You can't help the fat. A little bit of blood shock, you're going to get that. The only waste in there is maybe about the size of my fist of meat. The rest is garbage. We don't want to eat any of that. So I'm just going to finish up cleaning this up. I'll probably end up with 2 bowlfuls by the time I'm done. And there's the bones. And so this will be the packaged amount, and very little to go in the freezer, and it'll freeze up nicely, quickly, and it'll be nice and fresh.